Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the concept of, or the reality of receiving a fair trial in a politicised legal system that is, in my view at least, owned and run and managed by the globalists in order to socially re-engineer society on one hand, but also to shut down any voices that may talk against the globalist narrative, which includes mass migration and trans and LGBTQ and so on. Now, excuse me, there's a case in England where, and I didn't know anything about this, and I didn't know anything about the people involved, but there's a gentleman by the name of James Allchurch, who's had as I understand it, at least a radio station or some sort of media outlet, I guess, that is alleged to have been, stirring up, as the claim is made by the British establishment at least, that he's been stirring up racial hatred. And they've dragged him into court on quite serious charges. And if found guilty, Mr. Allchurch could very well do time in prison, and not a few days here or there or a slap on the wrist type stuff. So now the issue here is I looked at the most left-wing journals. In fact, if you do a search on it, you'll only find the left-wing, the super pro-globalist. Everyone who even questions mass migration is a fucking fascist Nazi, if not Hitler personally. And it's those. So that's the first. I think I went through 3 pages before I could even find, this is on the internet search, before I could even find a news article that even attempted to explore the middle ground. It was all very shrill and hysterical. Known to be a Nazi, known to love Hitler, known to tear babies to pieces with his bare hands, evil. And they couldn't pile onto him any more viciously than they do. So now there's a few issues here. Can this man get a fair trial? All the media coverage, which to me, given that it's working its way through the courts, is extremely prejudicial. Now, normally, the judges and the legal establishment doesn't like it when newspapers comment on a case that's working its way through the courts, because it can be very prejudicial to the accused. Now, remember, this man could go to prison, so the stakes are high. It's not like he's going to get a $50 fine or something, but there seems to be no attempt to restrain the media, and it's in my view at least, something of a feeding frenzy against him. And here's one article that I'll just refer to. So the opening, this is the opening fucking sentence here. He's a supporter of Adolf Hitler. That's the opening sentence. I mean, don't attempt to be balanced here. And is racist and anti-Semitic, stirring up racial hatred. And the superiority of the Aryan race, racist Nancy, white supremacist, abusive, insulting, white superiority, provoking a race war. Adolf Hitler gets another gig already. Third Reich, Nazi, racial slurs, National Socialist, far right, Nazi, neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic. It's not funny. In a number of ways, this is not funny. This could possibly prejudice a member of a jury, for example, and 12 of them, as I understand it, are impaneled already. Tommy Robinson supporter, far right, racist, highly racist, anti-Semitic, and distributing information in the public, racist, National Socialist, Aryan, racial. Every fucking paragraph. There's a huge pile on here now. But exactly what are the charges? Now the charges are under various sort of Racial Relations Act in Britain, as I understand it, at least. And I'm sort of looking through this and thinking, well, gee whiz, those views some of them are rather extreme, and I think they were, in my opinion, I think they were expressed in a way that was likely to annoy people. Particularly the activists in this area, and the activist class, certainly in the pro-immigration side, is very, very active, very well funded, and has eyes and ears everywhere. So, that would, clearly that would that would possibly inflame their sensibilities. I can't see anything that would suggest he's a supporter of Adolf Hitler or a National Socialist. Maybe there is, but if, for example, if he says he thinks Hitler's policies of building those autobahns in Germany, which are very well made and very straight and were getting people around, if he mentioned that he thought the autobahns were good, or anyone that may mention that, if the left-wing media get hold of that, supporter of Hitler, if not Hitler in person. So anyway, stop. All he said was he thought the policy of building the autobahns was good. Oh, yeah, but Hitler was in charge when that happened, therefore that makes him fucking Hitler. Well, no, it doesn't. It just means he commented on the autobahn. So this is the level of hysteria that goes around this. Now, if that, it has to be that somebody like the activist class has to go to someone influential in government, or even in the legal fraternity, someone in the Department of Prosecutions, for example, and say, look what this guy's doing. Look. He said he likes autobahns, which means he's fucking Hitler. You got to go and get him. You got to shut this motherfucker down. So it's already very political at this stage. So then they decide to go to the police, say, listen, because the police are now very politicized. They're just there to support. They're globalist enforcers now, in my opinion. And so they go to the police, say, you got to shut this guy up. Let's arrest him. So in a prearranged move where the Department of Prosecutions has already written up what they're going to do and how they're going to approach this, they're just sending the police out as like the first sort of technical paperwork formality in the process to go and arrest him. They'll do it's a pretend interview where they're going to get him to say something that they can use. Then that can be included in the prosecution's list of charges. He's then arrested and dragged in front of the court. So this is already very political, I believe, and it's a political trial. He has views that are disapproved of by the activist class, which is controlled, funded, and directed by the globalist cabal. So now, whether you like his views or not, I'm just looking at some of it. I'm not so sure about that. Or some of it is some may say misguided. Some of it is ill-informed. Some of it is, I just can't see what the problem is. In one case, he quoted a speech from an elected representative in the British Parliament. So let me repeat that. He quoted a speech from a legally elected, sitting representative in Parliament that's now considered to be something that the globalists don't want us talking about, or anyone talking about. So he quoted that, and that's considered to be one of his crimes. Now, the way this works is in this case, at least as I understand it, is that speech is considered to be racially provocative. And so if anyone quotes the speech or a couple of lines from it, then that's viewed as being racially provocative. If you quote it directly, saying this is what somebody said, then I think that's still acceptable. But nonetheless, to actually try and gin that up into being one of the crimes for which he's meant to be guilty, that's fanciful in the extreme. So I couldn't see anything that would suggest. So really, he's saying things that are racist and anti-Semitic, but this is by extension, because if you approve of Hitler building the autobahns, then you approve of Hitler. If you approve of Hitler, then you approve of anti-Semitism. If you approve of anti-Semitism, you personally committed the Holocaust. And so they're using this by extension, by association. So if you associate with A, that means you associate with B, means you associate with C. So we could go to say, on using that logic, we could go to the prosecuting lawyer here and say, well, do you drink water when you're thirsty? Well, yes, I do. I drink water when I'm thirsty. Did you know Hitler drank water when he was thirsty? Yeah. So Hitler drank water when he's thirsty. You drank water when he's thirsty. That fucking makes you fucking Hitler, you damn fucking fascist Nazi. And of course, that would be utterly absurd. But this is the level of association that they're using to try and create this idea of criminality. Well, you did it, Hitler did it, that makes you Hitler. And this, but it also illustrates the desperation. I mean, if the guy is guilty of something, you don't need to be inventive. You don't need to invent things. You don't need to play absurd ideological word association games. The guy is guilty. But that doesn't appear to be the case, given the nature of how they're trying to construct a sort of miasma of wickedness around this guy, rather than say he did this and there's the guilt, there's the smoking gun. Now, many hours of this media outlet that the guy was running, many hours of this have allegedly been played in court. Again, it'll be tightly cherry picked, like the January 6th committee. It'll be tightly cherry picked to now, out of what as I understand, thousands of hours, I think they've only managed to get or less than 10 hours that they think are good for illustrating his alleged guilt. But again, well, he was a white supremacist. Well, what even does that fucking mean? So there, he was abusive. He made insults. What? That's now a fucking crime? Yeah. And he's a supporter of Adolf Hitler, Nazis, fascists. And again, the Hitler's name was invoked so many times that you can sense the desperation to get the association of he is Hitler. You've got to send him to prison. I mean, he's fucking Hitler. Take him out the back and shoot him. So I would. So in my view, this is a very political trial. And the judge, in my view, is allowing incredible latitude. If I was a judge, I wouldn't allow this in a million years. Incredible latitude to the prosecution to build this case on Hitler association, word association. I mean, is everyone aware that Hitler's been dead for 80 years or something? Do people even know this? So the ignorance of the jury is being relied upon. That the idea of ginning up that every second word has Hitler in it, or every second sentence has Hitler in it. So I can't see, in my view, I can't see a legal case here. Maybe there is one, but not one that has any media article I've seen has been able to explain or clarify. It's all been very emotional, Hitler and Nazi type sort of language. Again, the 25 paragraphs in this thing, 24 mention either Hitler or Nazi or white supremacist. None of which, but not one article has pointed to an actual crime. You're saying things we don't like. You're upsetting our rich and powerful globalist friends. We're trying to socially re-engineer Britain and eradicate British culture. You're talking against that. We're not going to have that, and we will send you to prison if you do it. So there seems to be again, this guy is supposedly had a decent following. I don't know. I'd never heard of him, but has a decent following or had a decent following, and that's of concern. If no one's listening to your media or your videos or whatever, if no one's listening to it, who cares? But if you get a decent following, we got to shut that guy down. So I see the whole thing as political. I see it as effectively stage managed, where the political decision was made somewhere. We got to get this guy. So it's a case of show me the man and I'll fabricate the crime, or gin it up, as the case may be. So this comes, can someone accused of say questioning mass migration and its effects, can someone like that, particularly if it's a straight white male, can someone like that get a fair trial? Now, given the politicization of the police, given the politicization of the Department of Prosecutions, the politicizing of the courts, the obvious politicization of the media, there's not one article that defends this guy or his right to a fair trial. Not one fucking article that I could find defends this guy's right to a fair trial. Not fucking one. Can you believe that? Now, whatever you may think about it, he may think his views are insane or crazy or stupid or idiotic. You may think that. That doesn't change his right to a fair trial in an impartial, independent court of law. Now, when you've got, in my view, a politicized police, politicized prosecution, politicized court, quite possibly a politicized judicial officer, although I make no claim in that regard. And the guy's got no chance of a fair trial. When you've got the media screaming all in one direction that he's a Nazi, if not Hitler personally, again, that prejudices anything, any attempt to have a fair trial from a jury, in other words, affecting the jury there. So the issue here isn't whether he's guilty of any of those things, although that can be covered. But the absolute impartiality of the entire legal system, and of course the impartiality of the jurist, the presiding jurist, and the entitlement to a fair trial. Just saying someone holds views that you don't like, or that they approve of something Hitler may have done, doesn't make them a criminal. Now, it may mean that they've got crazy views, or it may mean, well, I don't agree with that. But again, that's not a crime. So we're looking at something here where, in my opinion, someone who's committed no crime at all, is now being dragged into court, and will given the politicization of the process thus far, and the media screaming and baying only on one side of the discussion, that he'll probably end up. The probability that he'll end up in prison is greater than the non-probability, but I remain to be amazed. Now, let's suppose it was I was, which I'm not, but let's suppose I was the police, the senior police officer in that district or region, wherever it is in Britain, and someone's, you got to get this guy because he has views we don't like. No, I'm not doing that. No, police time is to arrest burglars and vandals and murderers and so on. That's what police time is for. It's not as a thought police to chase people who the globalists don't like. That's not what the police are here for. Now, if any senior police officer did that, hey buddy, I just want to let you know you're out of a job. So I don't think in the real world that would happen. But let's suppose for a moment that the police would do that, or any policeman would do that, or the Department of Prosecutions would look at it. What have you got on this guy? What crime has he committed? Well, we somebody said that they think he likes Hitler. Okay, sure, all right. Okay, well, he's got strange, unusual views. Fine. What crime has he committed? Well, we don't know. Can you make one up? Just make one up for us. Say he did this or did that, or he could be doing this, or maybe he did that. So say he said bad things about black people. Well, so what? People are saying, many folks say the most terrible things about white people, straight white, terrible things about straight white people. They should be killed, and this, that, and that. Well, so if we're going to apply the rule of law, then we have to arrest all of these people. No, 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 no. We don't want you to arrest the people that say bad things about white folks. That's all right. It's if a white person says anything bad about a non-white person, arrest them and them only, not the other way around. Well, hold on a minute. That's not the rule of law. That's political, arbitrary law. Do we really want that? Yes, we want that because the globalist project relies on it. You silly idiot! You have to crush white people at every opportunity. You can't do it the other way around. Oh, all right then. Yeah. So the case then gets to court number X. What have we got in the judge? Well, we got a very reliable judge. He'll find any straight white person we put in front of him guilty of something. Oh shit! Well, let's get him. Well, it's the next cab off the rank thing. The next available judge. Don't give me that silly nonsense about the independence of the courts and all. Don't give me that. Just get that activist judge. Make sure he gets to hear the case. We want that motherfucker in prison. Okay. We don't care if he's guilty of something or not. Just lock the motherfucker up. Then we can send a message to all those other straight white people. If they talk out, say anything, even one word against mass migration, we're going to send them to fucking prison, and we're going to accuse them of being Hitler. Oh, okay, is that how it works? Now, you may say, well, fine, but the issue here is, will this man get a fair trial? My view, this is only my opinion, of course, is that he won't and he can't, given the politicization of the entire system today. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.